Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Babu Salati Duha, the chapter of the Chas Salah or Ishraq Salah. Right. Duha is come from the word dah or dahwa. It means when the sun goes high. Right. Duha has got two salahs. One is Ishraq and the other one is Chas Salah. Right. Uh, yeah. So when the sun goes a little bit up, it's about 1 or 2 spears length, then and the makruh time is finished, and that time is called the Ishraq time. You understand? And when it becomes very high, then it's called the Chas time. Right. In Nasai, there's a riwayat that when the sun is in the east, like how it is at Asr time in the west, then that would be Ishraq time. Right. And when the sun is in the east, like how it would be Zohar time in the west, then it would be Chas time. In other words, Ishraq is the early part of the morning, right? And then just till before, and then before Zawal, and that period before Zawal, that is the time of Chas. And then Ishraq, they say from 2, they got right up till 6 rakats, but they say the correct view is 4 rakats, right? And Chas also they got from 2 right up till 12, but they say the correct view is 4 rakats also, right? Because most of the hadith speaks about 4 rakats. And then Qazi Abu Bakr rahmatullahi says this salah of Salatul Duha was the practice of all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. Right. Al-Fasl al-Awwal. And Hani'in radiallahu anha قالت أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دخل بيتها يوم فتح مكة فاغتسل وصلى 8 ركعات فلم أرى صلاة قط أخف منها غير أنه يتم الركوع والسجود. وقال في رواية أخرى وذلك ضحى متفق عليه. And Hani radiallahu anha, she says that Nabi Karim entered her house on the day of the conquest of Makkah. Then he made ghusl and he recited 8 rakats. And I didn't see a salah ever more lighter than it, except that he completed the ruku and sujood. Now he made the ruku and sujood properly, right? And she says in another riwayat, and that was the Chas Salah, right? Hazrat Hani radiallahu anha, she is the sister of Ali radiallahu anhu. Her name was Fakhta, right? Or Fakhita, right? And she was a great Sahabiya. And Nabi Karim Sami's tabligh used to take place from her house, right? Nabi Karim read 8 rakats, Chas Salah, right? He could have read it with 2 salams, that is 4-4, or he could have read it with 4 salams, that is 2-2-2-2. Right. وعن معاذة رضي الله عنها قالت سألت عائشة كم كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي صلاة الضحى قالت 4 ركعات ويزيد ما شاء الله رواه مسلم. And Mu'azah رضي الله عنها, she said, I asked as Aisha رضي الله عنها, how much Rasul used to read Salatul Duha. So she said 4 rakats, and he used to increase whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes. And it's mentioned in Kitab al-Ahbar that it's preferable to read in those 4 rakats Surah Al-Shams and Surah Al-Layl, Surah Al-Duha and Surah Alam Nashrah. Right. ونبي ذر رضي الله قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصبح على كل سلامة من أحدكم صدقة فكل تسبيحة صدقة وكل تحميدة وكل تهليلة صدقة وكل تكبيرة صدقة وأمر بالمعروف صدقة ونهي عن المنكر صدقة ويجزئ من ذلك ركعتان يركعهما من الضحى. رواه Muslim. Then Abu Zar said Nabi Akram says that sadaqah becomes necessary on every sadaqah becomes necessary on every joint from one of you. So every tasbih is a sadaqah, every tahmeed is a sadaqah, every tahleel is sadaqah, every takbir is sadaqah, and amar bil ma'ruf is sadaqah, nahi al munkar is sadaqah. And it will suffice on behalf of that 2 rakats that you'd pray from Salatul Duha. So in other words, every morning when we get up, then our 360 lumps, we need to give sadaqah for it. So as you make now ibadah during the day, then those are all sadaqahs that you do now. And that's how you'll be paying back for the limb and our joints being healthy, right? But what you could do is that if you just read 2 rakats just, then that covers up for the entire body, right? وعن زيد بن أرقم أنه رأى قوما يصلون من الضحى فقال لقد علموا أن الصلاة في غير هذه الساعة أفضل إن الرسم قال صلاة الأوابين حين ترمض الفصال. Imam Zayd ibn Arqam radiallahu anhu, he said he saw some people reciting the Cha Salah. So he said, indeed, they know that the Salah in other than this time is better. Indeed, Nabi Akram said that the Salatul Awabin, referring to the Cha Salah, right, is when the young camels, their feet get hot when they walk. Right. So Hazrat Zaid radiallahu anhu, he saw some people reciting Cha Salah, but not in the Mukhtar time, not in the chosen time, right? They didn't wait till just before Zawal. You understand it? So he got amazed and he said, these people know that this is not the Mukhtar in the chosen time. I'm surprised that they're still reading Salah in the non-chosen time. And he means that the chosen time is later when it becomes very hot. Right. And we find that at that time, when it is very hot, that's the time the nafs and the tabiat is lazy to read that salah. You understand? So therefore, he's pointing that out now. That's the time you're supposed to read it. When Abi Dardai wa Abi Dharrin رضي الله قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الله تبارك وتعالى أنه قال يا ابن آدم اركع لي 4 ركعات من أول النهار أكفيك آخره. رواه الترمذي ورواه أبو داود والدارمي عن نعيم بن حمار الغطفاني وأحمد عنهم. Narrated from Abu Darda and Abi Zarra said, Nabi Akram said, and he also says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, right? And he said, oh son of Adam, read for me 4 rakats at the beginning of the day. I will suffice you till the end of the day. This is narrated by Tirmizi and also Abu Dawud and Darimi also narrated from Nu'aym ibn Hammar al-Ghatfani. And Imam Ahmad Rahmi also narrated from them. Right. So I will suffice you here that whatever problems you have, right? And whatever problems you feel in your heart, right? Then I will give you sukoon right until the end of the day. You understand it? And I will also fulfill all your needs for the day. Man kana lillahi kana Allahu lahu. You understand? Whoever gives his time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah sees to his affairs. If you spend your time in the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your affairs easy and he will even see to your affairs. I remember there was an incident of Imam Shahullah Bukhari when he was in prison. Now when they were in prison and they had to, they were given work to do. They had to grind the flour, I think, with a mill like that. So he used to read his he used to read his salah and make his ibadah. Then how was his work gonna get done? So the mill would move on its own, without anyone. It would move on its own. So then somebody saw and they said, what's happening? He say, मैं उसका काम करता हूँ तो मेरा काम करते हैं. I'm doing his work, he's doing my work. I'm doing the work of Allah, Allah does see to my work. Right. So at the beginning of the day, yeah, they mean it's going to be either the 4 rakats of Ishraq, or either it could mean the 4 rakats of Chas. When Buraidah radiallahu anha قال سمعت رسول الله يقول في الإنسان 360 مفصلا فعليه أن يتصدق عن كل مفصل منه بصدقة. قالوا وما يطيق ذلك يا نبي الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال النخاعة في المسجد تدفنها والشيء تنحيه عن الطريق فإن لم تجد فركعة الضحى تجزئك رواه أبو داود. Then Hazrat Burayrah radiallahu anhu said, I heard Nabi Akram saying, in a man there is 360 joints. Then upon him is to give sadaqah on behalf of every joint. And they said, who will be able to do that, O Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So he said, the mucus or the phlegm in the masjid which you bury, somebody spat in the masjid. So those in the masjid was sand, you see more sand. So you bury it in the sand, right? Or something which you remove from the path. In other words, all these are acts of sadaqah, right? And if you do not find, then the easiest is 2 rakats of char salah was 2 rakats of char salah or ishraq salah will suffice you. Yeah, it means not that it is a wajib shar'an, you understand? That you have to give this 360 sadaqahs, right? Such that if you don't do it, you'll be a sinner. No, it's just for emphasis. You understand it? Emphasis that you can read this 2 rakats Salatul Duha. When Anas قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى الضحى 12 ركعة بنى الله له قصرا من ذهب في الجنة رواه الترمذي بن ماجه وقال الترمذي هذا حديث غريب لا نعرفه إلا من هذا الوجه. Ibn Anas radiallahu anhu said, Nabi Akram says, whoever recites Salatul Duha 12 rakats, Allah will build for him a palace of gold, made of gold in Jannah. Narrated by Tirmizi and Ibn Majah. And Tirmizi says this hadith is gharib. We don't know it except from this way here. Alright. When Muaz ibn Anas al-Juhani radiallahu anhu قال Rasulullah sallam man ka'ada fi musallahu hina yansarifu min salati subhi hatta yusabbiha rakatay duha la yakulu illa khayran غفر له خطاياه وإن كانت أكثر من زبد البحر رواه Abu Dawud. Then Muaz ibn Anas al-Juhani said, Nabi Karim Sallallahu says, whoever sits in his Salah place until when he turns around from Fajr Salah until he prays 2 rakats of Salatul Duha, in others Ishraq Salah. And he doesn't say except good in that period while he's waiting. All his sins will be forgiven, even though it is more than the foam of the ocean. Right. Mullah Ali Qari Rahmallah says, sitting in your place here, he say, this is just tamthilan. You know, this is what it means is that you go, you're not involved in dunyawi things. Whether you get up from there and you might be teaching, or you're giving a bayan, or you're making tawaf. You understand? In other words, you're involved in good right until Ishraq Salah, and then you read your Ishraq Salah, you will get the same reward. However, others say no. It means that you sit in your place, right? If you stand up and you go sit in a separate room, and there you make zikr and ibadat, then you're not going to get this reward. So it means you need to sit in that place. وَنَبِي هُرَيْرَةَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حافظ على شفعة الضحى غفرت له ذنوبه وإن كانت مثل زبد البحر رواه أحمد الترمذي ibn Majah. Then Abu Hurairah said, Nabi Akram says, whoever protects upon the 2 rakats of chas, all his sins will be forgiven, even though in the likeness of the foam of the ocean. Right. When Aisha radiallahu anha called تصلي الضحى 8 ركعات ثم تقول لو نشر لي أبواي ما تركتها رواه أحمد. The Aisha says that she would recite duha. Narration from Aisha that she would recite the Salat duha, right? 8 rakats. Then she said, even if my parents were made alive for me, I would not leave it out. That doesn't mean that she'd ignore her parents, but rather it's emphasis that she's getting so much of enjoyment in reading the Stalaya that even if my parents were made alive, I would still find the time to do it. And I would not miss it out. Right. Okay, leave it to me. He's still sick. Other one is still sick. I don't know if you sick. Why don't you pick? Oh, you don't pick.